So, you want to main a Red Mage. Well, do you like the color red? Do you like balancing your resources? Do you like the look of a Royal Mage? And can't you decide between a ranged and melee class? Then a Red Mage, the obvious best DPS, is a class for you. The Red Mage, a class that sits in the category of magical DPS, and besides using regular MP, you also have to balance out your black and white mana to build up towards your strong melee combo. The Red Mage got added in Final Fantasy XIV's second expansion called Stormblood. The requirement to play Red Mage consists of owning the Stormblood expansion and having one character to at least level 50 in order to unlock the quest called Taking the Red, which is located in Ul'dah, Steppes of Thal, which grants you the soul of the Red Mage, which you can then equip to change your current class to a Red Mage. The Red Mage starts at level 50, unlike all other classes that were in the base game Realm Reborn. It may seem daunting at first when you suddenly see a handful of abilities just scattered over your hotbar, but luckily for you, the Red Mage is actually one of the easiest classes to pick up after you know their key playstyle. Which brings us to Red Mage's unique mana system. The Red Mage will generate either black or white mana depending on which ability you are using. For example, a Verero will increase your white mana, whereas for Thunder will increase your black mana. If you want to become a good Red Mage, balancing the two will be key. Another important mechanic to Red Mages, if not the most important mechanic, is their ability to dual cast. Dual cast allows you to instantly cast a second spell right after you hard casted your first spell. Be careful of using off global cooldown spells, as they are instant cast by default and they can consume your dual cast proc. Gearing your Red Mage. When you are leveling your Red Mage, you shouldn't worry too much about getting the optimal gear, as you will most likely be replacing it every other level. Once you hit max level, try to aim for gear that has crit on it and try to avoid spell speed. Your secondary stat to aim for should be direct hit followed by determination. Red Mage's abilities. So now I'm going over all the abilities the Red Mage has in its current state in Shadowbringers. Every expansion will bring new abilities, so I probably have to remake this video next year when the new expansion gets released, but for now this is what we have. First off, Red Mage's passive skills, also known as traits. Red Mage, just like other classes, has a handful of useful passives that either have their own use or are an upgrade to your lower level skills. Starting off with dual cast. As I mentioned before, this is most likely your most important skill that you have, since it allows you to instantly cast any spell after you cast another spell that would otherwise require a long casting time. Maim and Mend. This is a passive spell to which you don't really have to pay attention to, as it just increases your base damage on skills and increases your HP restoration percentage. Then we have Enhanced Jolt. Enhanced Jolt is unlocked at level 62 and will upgrade your current Jolt 1 skill to Jolt 2, which will produce a new animation and also increase the potency of your for arrow, for thunder, for fire and for stone abilities. Next up, we got Scatter Mastery at level 66, which upgrades Scatter to Impact, which again comes with a new animation. Enhanced Displacement, unlocked at level 72, basically increases the potency of this skill. Enhanced Monification, unlocked at level 74, lowers the cooldown of the skills and adds an effect for 10 seconds that increases your magic damage dealt by 5%. Lastly, for the passives, we've got Enhanced Contra Sixth. At level 78, this spell will lower the cooldown of the skills and will also increase the potency of both for Thunder 2 and for Arrow 2. Now it's time for Red Mage's abilities. I will divide them by either global cooldowns or off global cooldowns. Starting off with Riposte. This together with Swerchow and Redoublement make up your melee combo, which will be upgraded to their enchanted version when a certain mana balance threshold has been met. Ideally, you want to have both your black and white mana at 80, so you can use all three of them in succession. Jolt. This ability is mostly used when you're trying to get a proc with your dual cast on either for arrow or for thunder. Jolt also increases both black mana and white mana by 3. For thunder and for arrow. These are your main skills to generate mana. You will usually use one of these after Jolt, because they have a quite long cast time by itself, so dual casting them is preferred. For Thunder generates 11 black mana and has a 50 chance to become for fire ready. This allows you to cast for fire. For Arrow is quite similar. It generates 11 white mana and has a 50% chance to become for stone ready. This allows you to cast for stone. Corpse a Corpse allows you to instantly rush to your target. Red Mage is the only class that has a gap closer towards an enemy target. Scatter is your AoE skill that generates both black and white mana by 3. The skill has a long cast time, so it's best to use it after your shorter AoE abilities to dual cast it. For Thunder 2 and for Arrow 2 are unlike for Thunder and for Arrow, skills that require a shorter cast time, making it an ideal skill to cast during your AoE combo to generate mana by 7 of each of your respective skill. For Fire and for Stone are abilities you can only cast after getting a proc from either for Thunder or for Arrow. For Fire generates 9 black mana and for Stone generates 9 white mana. Displacement. Displacement makes you backflip quite a distance away from your target, but be careful to not flip off the platform in arenas that have no border. Engagement. Engagement shares the cooldown with Displacement, so either one of them can be used during the same cooldown window. Engagement is a melee attack that keeps you in place. It's great to keep uptime on the boss, in case you're not able to use Displacement, but it is weaker than Displacement. Acceleration. Acceleration is amazing for the fact that it makes sure your next 3 casts of for Thunder, for Flare, for Arrow and for Holy give you a proc or for Fire or for Stone respectively. Moulinet. Moulinet is an AoE melee skill that gets upgraded to Enchanted Moulinet when both black and white mana are above 20. It has a conal attack in front of you, perfect in AoE situations. Vercure. Red Mage's version of a heal. It surely helps, but you rarely use it. Fletch and Contra Sixth. Fletch is a single target off global cooldown, and Contra Sixth is a multi-target off global cooldown. Although Fletch is a slightly stronger single target skill, they both have separate cooldowns, so you can use both of them whenever they are off cooldown. Embolden. Your only party buff skill, which sadly only affects yourself and physical damage dealers in your party. It increases your own magic damage dealt by 10% and physical damage dealt by nearby party members by 10%. Both effects are reduced by 20% every 4 seconds until the buff runs out. Manification. Manification doubles your current amount of black and white mana, and it also resets the cooldown timers of Corpse to Corpse and Displacement. At level 74, this will also increase your damage for 10 seconds. Verrace. This is the Red Mage's version of a resurrection skill. It is a long cast time, but can be instantly cast with dual cast. For Flare and for Holy. After executing your full melee combo, you get to choose which one you want to use, as they are both insta-cast spells. They have a 20% chance of becoming a proc for your respective skills, but will become a 100% proc chance if you use for Flare, if your white mana is higher than your black mana, and vice versa for Holy. This will also increase your selected skill's mana by 21 after execution. And lastly, we got Scorch. In my opinion, one of the best looking skills. Scorch will become available after you use either for Holy or for Flare, and is also an insta-cast ability just like them. Scorch is a massive hitting skill that increases both mana by 7 upon execution. Make sure to always use it after for Holy or for Flare, as you will lose Scorch upon using any other global cooldown skill. I almost forgot, but you can also make use of roll actions, but they are shared with all other casters and are not job specific. And now for the final part of this video, Red Mage's opener and rotation. The rotation tends to change every expansion or whenever the class is heavily reworked. Rotations don't really matter that much during a trash pool in dungeons, but usually do during bosses. As of the current state of the game, the rotations look like this. 10 seconds before the boss is getting pulled, you use Acceleration. As soon as you see the number 5 on the countdown, you set hard casting for Thunder. After for Thunder cast ends, you'll dual cast for Arrow. You can use a potion in this window, but that is not really necessarily in regular content. You can now hard cast for Stone, followed by a for Arrow dual cast. In this window, you can now use both Fletch and Contra Sixth. Now use for Fire, followed by a dual cast for Thunder. Use your Corpse to Corpse to dash to your target. Use Embolden to power up. Hard cast for Stone, followed by dual cast for Thunder. In this window, use Engagement and Modifications, which will raise your mana to 80 or above. Now use your melee combo, Enchanted Riposte, Corpse to Corpse, Enchanted Swordshell, and followed by Enchanted Redoublement. Finish your melee combo by using Displacement or Engagement followed by for Holy into Scorch. Use for Fire and dual cast for Arrow. Now you can use abilities necessary to balance out your mana, building up to 80 for another melee combo, and it kinda rotates like that. You can use Fletch and Contour 6 whenever they are off cooldown, and the same goes for Embolden unless you want to use it to match the rotation of your party members. As far as glamours go, you can decide that for yourself. Just because it's called a Red Mage doesn't mean you have to dye your gear in the pretty shade of blood of your enemies, but you can do so if you'd like. That's it for the video. I hope this gave you more clarity about choosing the Red Mage class. Thanks for watching and subscribe to more future videos like this. Enjoy your day and stay safe. Goodbye.